Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Advisor with Stacey Chillemi. And today I'm really excited because we have our special guest back today. She is part of our podcast community. She has her own podcast. She speaks on many different topics to enhance your overall health. She speaks on grief. She speaks on positive thinking. She speaks on lots of different things on how to reach your full potential in life and bring yourself back to the place you want to be. Today, CarolAnn Tutera, who is the co-founder of SottoPelle Therapy, which is SottoPelleTherapy.com. She is here today to talk about positive thinking, the power of positive thinking, and how we can transform our mindset. And really, when it comes to the power of positive thinking, you can transform your whole entire life just by changing certain things in your life. CarolAnn, I'm so happy to have you here. You are just an amazing individual. You've gone through so much in your life, and you're such a strong woman.
I laugh because, yeah, I have been through a lot.
You have been through a lot. And, I know that the power of positive thinking has been a really a big part of your life, and it helped and changing your mindset has definitely transformed your life. Before we begin, can you just give everybody a little brief introduction if they haven't heard your podcast before? Can you tell them a little about yourself and, and let them, learn a little about you?
Sure. My late husband and I started a hormone replacement company. Actually, he revolutionized the hormone world with pellet therapy back in the 90s. So we started training physicians on how to use the hormone pellets that are placed under the skin. And we've trained people from all over the world. He passed away almost 10 years ago, and I'm still carrying on the companies, and I have my own local companies here in Arizona as well. I love it. I love hearing stories of women come in and say, "Oh my gosh, you've transformed my life," or the husband comes in and says, "Wow, you really made a difference in my relationship with my wife. I just can't thank you enough." So hearing that really is such a warm feeling that that's what consumes most of my time is working with the company and trying to get that word out there as much as possible.
I love that. I love that. Now, I know that losing your husband was really a difficult time for you, and you still hold on to a lot of the grief. And I don't think we ever really learn. We can't get over losing people we love. We just learn how to cope with it. And going through that whole process, I know was a very difficult time for you, and it still is difficult. But when you incorporate the power of positive thinking, how did that play such a big role in your life? How did that help you?
Well, I'm going to back up the story to when my positive thinking started,
Okay.
because you don't even consider a divorce or losing a relationship, losing your house, losing a child, maybe your car being repoed, that's still going through grief as well. And when
Yes.
I had my divorce, I went through that in, oh my gosh, the early mid 80s, I think, from my first husband.
Mhm.
And somehow, when I came back to Kansas City from the East Coast, I started hearing about a woman named Louise Hay. And she had just started her positive thinking movement revolution in the 70s. So here I am, just a decade later in the 80s, starting to listen to her and Wayne Dyer and a few others. And I realized, wow, there really is something to this. It
Mhm.
didn't do me any service to sit in the pain. I can't heal if I don't feel the pain.
Mhm.
And I would feel the pain, allow the pain to move through me, and then come out to the other side of the positive thinking. So fast forward to when my husband passed. I honestly don't know how I came up with this idea, but he passed in early November, mid-January, and I just somehow was given the thought of this was between him and God, and no matter what I did, there was no way I could save him. And trust me, I brought in so many people to try and work with him and to help him and to heal him. And he, being a physician, the guy was pretty bright. He practiced with a lot of common sense.
Yeah.
But this time, I think he outsmarted himself with taking care of himself because he always took care of the patients first.
Right.
So I really held on to that idea of this was between him and God.
Hmm.
Whenever I'm in pain, I always refer back to my spiritual books. And when I say spiritual, I'm not talking a religion. I'm saying a thought process of how to feel better, of how to turn the negative thought to a positive thought. I'm not saying we dismiss it altogether. You still have to pay attention to it. You still have to feel it. You have to
Yeah.
understand it to heal it, to move through it. But I love getting into that spiritual space and really connecting with myself.
Yes.
And the last couple of years, I found an incredible guy out of Florida, Michael Singer. He
Hmm.
is fantastic of how he explains yourself and your higher self. And hey, are you in there? Who's in there? How do you know they're in there?
Yeah.
Who's feeling the pain of the heart? Are they feeling the pain of the toe? It's interesting to hear how he says, you've got to feel this stuff. That's
Right.
good. Don't hang on to it. Don't talk to 50,000 people and keep putting it out there because you keep putting out the negativity that's out there. You
Yeah.
want to make sure you've got it, you've released it, you move on from it.
Right.
I know a lot of people whose parents have divorced when they were younger. It seemed to be a sign of the time, and they're
Hmm.
still holding on to it. You
Yes.
can't grow, you can't change, you can't move forward if you're still saying, I really miss my mommy and daddy together. This
Right.
happened when you were 7. You're now 50. What happened?
Exactly.
That's so far in the past. It's time to release it and make space for something else.
Yes. You sent me a Michael Singer's one of his motivational speaking
Mhm.
events, and I got so much out of it because it's so true. We can't hold on to the past. We can't hold on to the things that happened to us that caused us grief because, it's the past, and we can only, move forward, and why hold on to it? Because it's only going to haunt us. It's only going to hold us back. It's only going to make us not appreciate life and be able to live life to our full potential if we're holding on to the things that we have no control over, that happened already, that are gone. Why are we keeping them inside? Why don't we
Mhm.
just let go of them? Why don't we just learn to just let go of them? Because it's doing no good if we're holding on to it. And for so many people, we hold on to the grief. We hold on to the negativity. We hold on to the things that happen to us. And for some reason, we focus more on negativity than we do positivity, and we thrive our society off of negativity.
You're
And
right. Absolutely, we do. So that's the big question. Why do you hold on to the pain? What's the benefit you're getting out of it? If you do a cost analysis, your pain you're holding on to is up here. Your positivity is down there. You need to reverse those. You need to spiral up instead of spiral down.
yes, I know for me, the biggest things in my life that caused me a lot of obstacles and a lot of pain, and to the point where I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to get to the next day. But once I started looking at every negative thing that happened to me and I pulled out the positive thing, well, this made me a stronger person. This gave me knowledge. This did this, and then all of a sudden I let go of the rest and I was just focusing on the positive things. Okay, this happened in my life, but I became stronger. I have more wisdom now. Now, when I move forward, I can be a better person because now I realize da 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 da. And it is that way of thinking, changing my mindset, changing, looking just at the positive things and not dwelling on the negative. I was able to get through life and actually be able to excel in life and be able to become the person I wanted to be by not focusing on the negative.
You're absolutely right. And if you can take that little piece of positive out of a negative, you're steps ahead of where you would have been if you just held on to the negativity. It does
Yeah.
you no good because then it starts feeding into the body and your cells remember what it's like, and then you start causing illnesses within. There's a lot connected to the body when you start using your mind and it just constantly chatters and constantly goes and talks.
Hmm.
And you want to make sure that you're saying things with the positivity. Um, even down to you're driving on a street and somebody in front of you is going very slow. You should stop and listen to what your head said. Why are you going so slow? I need to get around you. How come you're not going faster? I'm really late. Now you're really making things a mess for me. Stop and listen to what your brain does.
Yeah.
Your mind just goes crazy with constant talk. So you have a
Yeah.
choice. You can choose to give it positivity. You can choose to have the negativity come out.
Mhm.
Which do you want?
Right.
I'm not saying that life is all rainbows and unicorns and confetti falling all the time. Oh gosh, no. I mean, I've got, my days of it's just wham bam of stuff hitting you.
Yeah.
But we're being tested as to how well do you allow it to affect you? How well do
Yeah.
you handle it when it starts to attack at you?
Right.
And like you said, Stacy, how can you grow from it? Well, what did
Hmm.
I learn out of it? What can I peel from this that I can get for next time when it comes at me? It's
Right.
just about paying attention to what's going on and what situations do you want to put yourself into that are either going to help you thrive or
Hmm.
not? Do you
Right.
want to grow or not? Do you want to
Exactly.
be on a steady stream and just sit outside on a rocking chair and let life go by? Hey, more power to it. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Actually, I'd like to try it sometime in this lifetime. That'd be kind of nice. Feel scary.
I love it. Now, when, like you had mentioned in previous conversations that we've had, that when Gino passed, it was it was unexpected. You didn't have time to prepare. You didn't
Ah,
have, you know, really, some people, they know their loved one is passing, and they're able to slowly come to terms. It doesn't make it easier, but mentally they put in their head, okay, my loved one is sick and he's getting ill and he's going to pass,
right,
and so they get
right.
themselves prepared. You, on the other hand, didn't have that, and it all came all at once by surprise. So I'm sure must have felt shocked, sad, anger, frustration, all these feelings, and you probably fell into depression because these are just natural feelings that all come along. Now you got yourself, now in the present tense, you are a positive woman who has a great mindset, who's strong, and you're moving forward in life. How did you get from those emotions? How were you able to bring positivity into your life and actually turn things around for yourself?
Uh, to say that I went into shock and awe and that my whole world basically crumbled when he passed, yeah, that's what happened. It took
Mm,
a while. Being a really spiritual person, I worked with someone and we would take my thoughts and see what's coming up at the time,
yeah.
and then transform them into something more positive. So I was basically reframing everything in my life, and I still do. I just love peeling back, as they say, the layers of the onion and seeing what's going on in my life and turning it into that positive situation. I can look out a window and choose to see the prettiness of the day, or I can look out the window and go, oh my God, there's a cloud up there. It's going to be a horrible day. One
Mhm.
cloud's going to ruin it for me.
Yeah.
Take a choice, take a pick. I have a friend who's probably been through hell and back in his lifetime,
Hmm.
and he's a shining example of what it's like to put one foot in front of the other and be such a positive person.
Yeah.
It amazes me. And that comes from the strong will of who your self, your soul, your spirit is. He was gifted with a really strong will. I think I was gifted with a very strong will.
Hmm.
And my story at the time of going through the grief with my husband passing, my mom would call me every morning and she would say, okay, time to get out of bed, time to get moving, time to do this. I had a friend who would text me these certain positive sayings to help me get through the day. Did they help? I can't say that it was like this much. At the time, it might have been that the first week and then slowly got a little bit bigger.
Right.
It's the constant repetition of having positive people in your life. having the positive thoughts and statements that come up in your life. Do your affirmations. That's a big deal as well. And I just went headfirst into that arena of living and choosing to live that life. Unfortunately, when things go well, I seem to put that aside.
Yeah,
But more and more, it's seeping into my world because more and more I'm really realizing who's in here and what that being needs.
right.
And that has changed dramatically over the years. It truly has, and probably changed a tremendous amount in the last couple months, even.
I love that. Are there specific things you do during the day or different methods of spirituality that you incorporate in your life that have made a tremendous difference? Like, do you meditate? Are there spiritual exercises that you do to help you connect with your inner self so you can understand your inner self and what your needs are? What things do you do?
I try and walk. I walk at least 5 or 6 days of the week in the morning. Absolutely love it. That's my time to connect with Michael Singer. That's my time to connect with me. Um, I like to write, so I try and find time to write. I have coloring books with crayons and color pencils.
I
And
love it.
even just doing that is my time with me, and it's allowing myself space within my world. And it's amazing what will bubble up at the time.
Yeah.
As a little kid, I used to go into my closet. I'd climb the shelves all the way up to the top. So it was almost like sitting in an attic space. And I'd
Yeah.
sit there and write.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. Loved it.
I love
So
that.
I found a little space for myself now. I honor that child within and say, okay, this is our time. This is what we're going to do.
Oh, I love
It's
that.
so important for me to carve out quiet time because with work, I have so much to deal with that
Hmm.
quiet time is essential in my world. It really is. And now I'm starting to reframe my days where I'm not going to start as soon as everybody wants me to be there. I can't. I need that morning time for me. I also love Joel Osteen, and I
Hmm.
had the incredible pleasure of meeting him in person and talking with him. Oh my gosh, hug heaven, bucket list, done. I just love how he puts a spiritual, positive twist on everything.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's, I try and bring in as much of that into my thought.
Yeah,
I'm a visual person, so I have to see things. So when I auditorily hear, I have to hear it quite a few times for it to sink in. But once I've got it, man, watch out. Whew, I got it. I get it. I'm good.
I love that. Now, for a lot of people, I hear the excuse all the time. I don't have the time. I don't have the time. I don't have the time. I'm really busy, especially people in the working world or even people that have kids, they make excuses up because to me it's an excuse. We can make the time. If we can make the time to watch a TV show, we can make the time to have quiet time. For you, how did you do it where you were able to construct a specific time? Like how did you do it? Because there's so many people out there that use the excuse, I don't have the time.
It's not so much as an excuse. Look at it as self-sabotage.
Hmm.
So you have to even turn that around.
Yeah,
Um, I need to watch the show. I really want to watch it. It looks like it's going to be a good show. So you reframe it and say, I can tape it and watch it when I want, but right now I need the time for me. It's
right,
getting into that habit. Are you going to self-sabotage yourself, or are you going to make yourself a priority?
right,
And making yourself a priority is a good thing to do. If you're not present for yourself, how can you be present with other people?
100%.
So I'm a morning person. I get up early, and that's my quiet time. And then I try and carve out time after lunch as well. The
Hmm.
fact that I work from home, I don't talk to anybody. I used to have two little dogs I could talk to, and every now and then I catch myself saying, "Okay, girls." It's like, I don't have girls anymore. But I'll make at least 15, 20 minutes, even if I sit outside and just enjoy the outside world.
Mm.
Here in Arizona, it's beautiful right now, this time of year, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Um, or I'll sit in my quiet space that I've made for myself in the house. You've got to make yourself a priority. That's just, I was one of those people with the excuse of I don't want to meditate. I don't have time to meditate. I'm afraid to find out what happens if I'm going to meditate.
Right.
And you just have to really consciously say, I can do this. I
Yes.
can make time for me. Remember
Yes.
the commercials of Calgon Take Me Away in the bubble bath?
Yes, and she sticks her leg up in the air and she the soap bubbles. Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's what you have to do for yourself.
Yeah.
You have to say, take me away. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to take myself into a quiet space and I'm going to be with me. And I can't wait to find out what I'm going to find out. And I'm going to share that with everybody. How exciting for me.
Yes. I like that. I think it's so important. Like you mentioned, we need to really keep ourselves the first priority because we can't help others around us unless we help ourselves first. We can't love others unless we love ourselves first, and it comes down to really putting yourself as a first priority. And some people feel shamed about doing that. Some people feel, they don't feel right because they always feel that they have to take care of everyone else before they take care of themselves. But really, you can't take care of others unless you take care of yourself first. And you shouldn't feel shamed and you shouldn't feel, like you're doing something wrong.
Right. Unfortunately, society trained me really well. And my
Hmm.
mother trained me really well that I'm supposed to take care of everybody.
Yeah.
I always took care of someone, but being a middle child, I was kind of like not even present because that's, by the time I came around, it's like, yeah, just another one. Um, but I was trained by watching how my mom treated my father and how
Hmm.
he wanted her home at a certain time, dinner on the table, the kids nicely dressed. When I got married, I had took care of my husband. Didn't matter, I was still working too. I still had to have the dinner. And you had to be presentable. You had to look a certain way. Then I had my son, and I was responsible for my son. And then I was divorced, so I took care of my being a son, an only parent. Then I got married again, and I've got another person I need to take care of. Now I've got some dogs. I've got to take care of the dogs.
Hmm.
This is the first time in my life I've never had anybody, anything, any animal around to take care of.
Right.
So it's a big gift for myself to say, this is my time. I'm
Hmm.
going to take care of me and see what that feels like.
And how does that feel like?
Different. It's very different. I'm not used to having so much freedom. I took a vacation. I was supposed to come home on a Tuesday, and I thought, wait a minute, what am I rushing home for? I don't have a dog. I don't have a dog sitter. So I stayed longer, which was incredible. I go out for a meal with friends. I've got to get home. No, I don't have dogs I have to run home to because they
Yeah.
were elder dogs. I didn't like leaving them alone for too long. I don't
Right.
have that to experience now. It's
Hmm.
just me. I'm not wired that way to take care of just me. So I'm learning how to rewire myself in taking care of me and what I want, which is different.
Yes.
I get to decide at some point whether that's what I truly enjoy or do I truly enjoy, taking care, not so much taking care, but being there for somebody else.
Right.
So
Did, did you have to, was it hard to change your mindset? Was it hard to change your behavior because you're so used to doing things a certain way, for so many years, and now you had all this freedom. You had, you could make your own choices. There was nothing holding you back, no boundaries, no anything. You had the whole field to yourself. Was that a weird feeling for you?
it's weird and it's scary as shit. I don't, I'm by myself. I don't know, I'll still find myself only giving so much time to being outside the house.
Right.
because I love people and I love being by myself. I'm ambidextrous.
Yes.
I'm outgoing, but then I'm very shy. So, and
Hmm.
I'm also very careful where I put all my energy during the day and with whom. So
Yes.
that's one thing now that I'm paying attention to, is am I spending a lot of time with people who give me positive energy, or are they feeding me negative energy? Watch out. If you're feeding me negativity, I'm up and out of there.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can take care of myself. If this conversation slides sideways, I'm out.
Right.
And I pivot fast. And I learned how to pivot within work and with the company, and I'm starting to pivot now with myself. And that feels good.
I like that. Can you give people advice on how to pull away from negativity? Because they say the 5 to 7 people that you surround yourself are the people that you become. So if you're around negative people, that negativity is going to go into you and you become the people around you. And if you're around positive people, people that uplift you, people who are go-getters, you get that positive energy within yourself and you attract that behavior and you see yourself starting to be a go-getter, an achiever, a positive person, a happy person, according to the people around you. And I also came into that point in my life where I had to look around me. And even though some people I really liked, they were great people, but they had negative personalities. And
Hmm.
it wasn't healthy for me to be around them. As nice as they were, as much as I liked them, their behaviors, their thoughts, the way they looked at life wasn't healthy. And I had to look around and I had to separate myself from those individuals, even though I liked them. Was that hard for you? How did you do that?
Um, it's interesting. I don't know if it was hard, but it's interesting to see because they say that people come into your life for a season and a reason.
Yes.
And I've noticed that as I've been changing, then within the people who are presenting in my life, they're either disappearing
Hmm.
or I'm looking at them going, do I really want to spend time with you? Are you
Yeah.
making me a better person? Are you helping to support me when things go down? What's going on here? So I'm looking in and basically investigating, what my life looks like and who I want to surround myself with.
Right. I think a lot of people too that they feel that some people like to be around a lot of people. They feel secure, but then when you're around a lot of people, you have a lot of different personalities, and like you said, the reasons why they're around you are for different reasons,
Mhm.
and you have to really look at it. Do you want good friends or do you want acquaintances? And
Right.
like, are those people coming in? A lot of people do come in for a reason, for a season, and it's very true, and I see that as I get older as well.
Well, and I learned something years and years ago that you should have three really good friends
Hmm.
because the four of you make up a table that's standing firm.
I like
One
that.
person jumps off, the table's going to wobble. It's going to
Hmm.
fall over. So are you going to replace them or are you going to have a wobbly table? You might decide to go down to a tripod of a table. I don't know.
Right. That actually I've never heard that before, but it makes so much sense.
Mhm.
I really like that idea. And it's really helpful when you have a couple of really good friends. It's sometimes very hard to find those friends, but if you're able to find those couple of few friends that you know that you can trust, that you know that will be there, if you fall, they're going to try to catch you. That's
Right.
very precious that to have that and to be able
Mhm.
to have, and it goes a long way.
It truly does. And some people are very fortunate to have their friends from childhood still their best friend today.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I've moved so many times. I've got friends all over the country.
Right.
Um, but in town, I've kind of kept it very small for a reason, for business reasons, and being the doctor's wife.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but I think it's so important and very healthy for women to have other women friends.
Yes.
But I've also learned that women are extremely judgmental. We are
Yes.
so judgmental of other women. And I've never understood why, because I run a lot of male energy within. And I've
Hmm.
always had a lot of guy friends. They're easier for me to get along with. I think like they do.
Hmm.
Um, I sometimes don't even understand the female energy myself because I probably run cold with that and hot with male. And one of these days, it's kind of nice to have a balance of the
Yeah.
two.
Uh-huh.
But there's one thing I just won't tolerate is a woman who you walk in a room and they size you up.
Hmm.
You know, we're all the same. We all put our pants on the same way. We all are human beings. And if you start out with such negativity towards me, and you don't even have to say anything, it's just that look.
Yeah.
I don't have time for those kind of people anymore. I don't have time for the people who think they're so much better. That's a whole nother conversation in itself, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And that's true. All women and men, we all carry female energy and we all carry male energy in us, and one will override the other sometimes, or you'll be balanced, it all depends.
Right.
I do feel that women are very judgmental human beings, and males definitely look at things differently, and they don't hang on to things, like women do. They're easier to let go. They go through it, they processed it, and then they just put it behind them. Where women will hang on and clinch
Oh,
and they don't let go. Something could have happened
right.
a couple years ago, and they still have that negativity, or those negative feelings towards that person, and it happened a long time ago. And women they tend to be very judgmental, and they tend to hold on to things and have a hard time letting go.
Yeah, we've got to learn how to support each other so much better than we are.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, we're so divided within um, the female world. It's really sad, and it's very rare. And consider yourself very lucky when you find that special group of female friends who just love you for you. I know
yeah,
it's there. I know it's possible. I've got a couple of those, but I would love to read studies on women and how we function and get along. And my late husband always said that women are known to have a purse,
yeah.
and you open it up like an old coin purse and you throw it in there, that one problem you had.
Mhm.
And that thing has got to be like a massive bag of Santa size by the time you hit my age
Right.
of stuff we've thrown in. And we know exactly which one we're going to pull out when that moment comes up, and we're going to reach inside and go, aha, remember you did this to me?
Hmm.
And we do that in all of our relationships, all of them.
Yes. It's true. It's so true. And I think those are unhealed emotions. Those are emotions that we have not worked through. Those are
That's right.
emotions rest, and it's trying to learn how to forgive, I think. And I think being positive and learn how to forgive, that's a whole different topic that we could talk on the other day. But I think the key is forgiveness. We all are human. We make mistakes. We have to be positive about it and realize that we all do things that someone else might not like. And we have to just realize it, acknowledge it. If we hurt someone's feelings, maybe be big enough to apologize and admit our wrongs and just let go and just move on. And, that's something that a lot of people have a hard time. A lot of people have a hard time with just admitting they were wrong. They have a hard time
Mhm.
of just saying the words, I'm sorry. Those simple words, two words, I'm sorry. How many times have you known people, even family members, that you've never even heard the words, I'm sorry, come out of their mouths?
Yeah. My sister has a favorite saying that, well, we're here now. So it kind of dissipates everything. And
Yeah.
I like to say, you're right.
Hmm.
You get into a disagreement with someone and say, you're right. That whole energy of it just falls apart and they go, oh, I don't know how to come back from that. So what you do
Exactly. Hmm. There's times where I'll look at my husband, and my husband has caught on to that theory. And I'll look at him, he'll say, "You're right." I'm like, and I'll be like this. I'm like, "Do you really mean that?" Because sometimes I feel like he'll say that just because he wants peace. He doesn't want to argue. He just wants to move on. And so he agrees with me. And I'm like, "Do you really mean that? Or you're just trying to just get this topic to go over, to the other side of the room?"
But does it really matter if you're right or not? Do you
It
want to be right or feel good?
Yes,
That's the
exactly.
key to it. And you want to feel good.
That is powerful, what you just said. That is
Mhm.
so powerful because it's true. It's true. And
Yeah.
I know so many people who hold on to things. We have to close this up soon, but I know so many people who hold on to things and they imagine in their head what when they're not even in the room with the person and they're thinking about the next time they talk to this person, what's going to happen, what that person's going to say, what they're going to say, and all these negative emotions come up and they get themselves sick over it. And if we're not if we focus on the negative and we keep thinking into our mind into negative thoughts and we keep working through and hanging on to those negative thoughts, we are going to make ourselves sick physically and mentally. And we are not going to be able to move forward and enjoy our lives and enjoy what God and the world has given us the ability to enjoy. And positive thinking is very powerful. And we really have to reset our mind so we can
Mhm.
actually enjoy life and enjoy what life has in store for us.
That's very well stated. You're right.
If you had to take today's conversation, what are some really important things you'd like to emphasize on?
I think the biggest thing is take time for yourself.
Mhm.
Honestly, do yourself a favor and be with yourself every day for at least 15 minutes a day. Yeah, that's the
I,
big one.
I like that a lot.
And
Now,
watch your thoughts.
yeah,
Absolutely watch your thoughts.
that's important too. So that's so important. Now, if people want to get a hold of you, maybe ask you some questions and to talk to you, maybe, get in touch with you, how could people get in touch with you?
The best way to find me is at response, response at SPHRT.com.
And also, I just want to mention briefly, like I do hormone therapy. I know it's changed my life because from the moment my hormones got imbalanced, my whole life was turned around from my mental to my physical, spiritual, everything was affected. Now, you have clinics throughout all over the place that work with pellets, work with balance and hormones if people are interested in learning more, because when I go there, there's all different age groups. You got people from my age
Mhm.
into their 70s and 80s. It goes through, there's a
Oh,
whole
starting in the 30s now.
yeah, that's when it started for me in the 30s. And if people are noticing changes in themselves and they don't really know what's going on and they want to feel better or they're feeling fatigued or they're feeling moody all of a sudden and then all these changes, maybe their menstrual cycle is going wacky and or just, they're getting hot flashes, whatever the case may be, where can you tell us a little about soul petty therapy and where they can get the help they need?
Everything's on our website at sottopelletherapy.com. It's SOTTOP as in Peter, ELLE therapy.com. It talks about your hormones, it talks about symptoms, it talks about what the pellets can help you with. So I always tell everyone, get your lab work done, get your baseline in, and go from there.
Love it. Love it. Now, before we go, is there anything else that you might want to add to the conversation?
I think we did a great job. I'm
Yeah.
good. Thank you.
Okay. Well, like always, Carol Ann, I love having you on the show. I love you, and I just enjoy our time together. Thank you so much for bringing up this conversation and bringing up the importance of the power of positivity and changing your mindset to accomplish it. So, I really appreciate you. I really appreciate everything you've done, and I admire you. I really do. You know, you've gone through a lot in life. You've overcome a lot. You've accomplished a lot. And here you are today, you know, throughout all the obstacles in your life, you've overcame them, you're working on overcoming them, and you're moving forward, and now you're helping others. So you're just amazing. And I love you. And thank you
Yeah.
so much for everything.
Thank you.
Well, you have a great day.